All right, we're going to try this again, this time with sound. Welcome, everybody. My name is Chris, and this is We Love Comics. And thank you to the people. I finally looked over at the comment section. Everybody's telling me it was muted, so sorry about that. Just went through this whole spiel for nothing, so I'm going to start it over again. And we're going to talk about this. I had a person who watches my channel email me just a little bit ago. I'm not going to say who they are. They said that they don't have a YouTube channel in the sense of making videos or anything, so they asked my opinion on this. Sent me a link of a recent video from a channel called Immaculate Comics. Now, I want to preface by saying I don't want any hate going this person's way. I'm not going to make any assumptions that there is foul play. But I think many of you who watch my channel can say I am probably one of the biggest users of PGX, probably out of any comic book channel, because I have, for the past 6 years, been sending in 4 comics a month, every month, with PGX, and I've even used them several times in the past before I even made that deal. So I think my viewers will say, it's fair to say, that I am very knowledgeable about PGX cases and working with PGX. Okay, so with that being said, and I'll go over everything again, I am not going to assume there's foul play, but there is a possibility. There are only 2 possibilities. So let me first go over what I saw and then have people be put at ease, because I don't want wrong information out there, whether it is accidental, coincidental, or deliberate. So please keep that in mind. I'm not here to bash somebody because I don't know their true intentions. But the person brought the attention, and I posted the link to the video in the live chat. I do not want anybody making any nasty comments. I don't want any trolling, because like I said, this person's situation could be 100% legit. But to me, it's more of a 1 in a million thing than something that is a regular occurrence. So, let me put on my video camera, okay? Because we're going to go over a couple of things. Alright, so welcome, and I'm glad everybody can hear me this time. So, the video from this person, Immaculate Comics, and I've never watched their channel before. I think I've heard of them. Maybe, I'm not sure. Excuse me, but I've never watched their channel. They did a video of, they said, and correct me if I'm wrong, that a friend sent them a PGX book. And with the whole CGC controversy, they wanted to show how easy it is to open a PGX slab. And while doing it, they discovered that the bottom lining of the comic, of the, where the comic is, and the plastic that's placed in, the little sleeve, was open. Suggesting that PGX doesn't bother to seal the lining around the comic. Now, there are 2 possibilities and 2 possibilities only. Because this person said they got the comic from somebody else, we don't know what happened to this before this gentleman got it. So, either, 1, someone, and I'm saying someone, could have possibly already have opened it and cut open the bottom of the inner welling and resealed it. Or this could be a 1 in a million time where when they were sealing it, it just happened to not get the bottom of the comic. Because let's put it this way. Here's a PGX book that I just did an unboxing today, so I hope you check out the video. But you can clearly see right here that it is sealed. And I could show you numerous examples. Now, why would they not seal this? Well, they wouldn't. Because anybody that would ever get a slab from them, you would notice that it would slide out. Okay? So that is not the norm. So again, and this person did not mention the possibility. Now, I didn't watch the whole entire video. I watched pieces of it. So I am going to be fair. They may have said it, and I might have missed that part. I always want to give full disclosure and be as honest as I can. So it was a long video. I did not want to watch the whole thing, but I watched enough to get a gist of it. So from what I saw, they did not say that somebody else could have cut it open as a possibility. Now, it would be illogical for PGX to not seal this on purpose. Because like I said, everybody's books would fall through. It would be noticed within minutes. Because I'm not the only person that works with PGX. There are hundreds of different people that have channels and hundreds of others that don't have channels that use the company. So somebody would have spotted it at this point. Okay? So it's just not the case. So again, either someone, and I'm not suggesting Immaculate Comics did it. But what I'm saying is either the bottom inner welling was either cut open by someone, or again, 1 in a million time, where it just, for whatever reason, did not catch and did not seal the bottom. That is not something that PGX does regularly. Again, I do live videos basically every month, month and a half, and I've been doing it for 6 years. I've even cracked open PGX books live and never had that happen. So this is either somebody playing tricks to get views, or it's just one of those times where it's just something that happens once in a blue moon, nothing to worry about. Now, you know how this community will be, especially with PGX, and especially people that want to get the attention off of CGC and focus now onto another company. I can see some people watching that video automatically having their own bias in their head and start trying to transfer their anger over to PGX. That's not a real community. That's not a free thinker. That is somebody that has a clear bias, and they're not going to think of possibilities. I don't think that way. Now, the other thing was he was talking about how easy it is to crack open a PGX slab. Now, is Immaculate Comics the channel that demonstrated how to open a CGC slab with a heat gun? I think that might be. I think that's why the name sounds familiar. But you never know, because YouTube channels, a lot of people have very similar names, so it could have been someone else's. So I don't want to assume it could be. If somebody wants to confirm that or let us know, either way. But it doesn't matter, because let me explain what he did. In the video, he's showing without a glue gun how you can crack open a PGX slab. Now, here's a CGC slab, and I'm going to show you why the difference between cracking open a CGC slab and cracking open a PGX slab are two different things, and why it doesn't really matter about cracking open a PGX slab. Now, of course, if somebody's going to be dishonest and they're going to cut open, I mean, first of all, it's going to be very easy to see, because like I said, and I'll try and focus on it, you can see there's like a serrated edge that's pressed in, that's sealed. So if that's not there, then somebody's doing some foul play. But that's something you have to pay attention to, and something easily you could see. But here's the thing. Again, here's a CGC comic. The biggest controversy that was going on with CGC is somebody was using a glue gun to heat this seal, open this up, and they were able to slide out the comic and replace the comic with another comic, maybe restored or lower grade. Or they could change the top label, but I think most of the time it was they opened the bottom and slipped out the comic. That was the big thing with CGC. Now, I'm going to explain why that doesn't matter with PGX. And I'm going to show it with a comic I got graded by PGX, but it's not encapsulated other than the inner welling, which, by the way, the bottom is sealed. Here's my World's Finest. Now, with CGC, the comic and the label are separate entities. This is a whole section right here that is just for the information. This comic is sealed separately than this. So you could pull out a CGC comic, still have the original label in it, and put something else in there. That's why CGCs and also CBCS, because they have the same thing, a separate a separate area for the book and the information. So their cases have to be more secure. With PGX, it's irrelevant because even if you crack it open, here is my World's Finest #2. It is not in the plastic because they don't have a slab that can hold one of these bigger books. But you notice the top part here and the comic are all one entity. So even if you were to crack open the slab like they show on the Immaculate Comics video, unless you cut this, you cannot separate the label from the comic like you can with a CGC or CBCS, and I think also EGS, but I don't have one in front of me. So PGX is the only company of the major companies that connects. This is all one piece. So if you take the plastic away and open it, it does not matter. Because again, the only way you can manipulate this is if somebody was to cut this top, center part here, or at the bottom. And again, that would be noticeable and something you could spot quite easily. Hunting Comic says, couldn't the heat gun separate the inner well, though? I mean, when you're getting to that point, yes. I mean, let's put it this way. There is never going to be a case that is 100% foolproof. So, I mean, it's like, can you stop drugs from entering a prison? No, you can't. So, unfortunately, there's always going to be dishonest people and criminals that will do criminal activities and always find a way to do something. I cannot talk about those people because they are the minority of the comic collectors. It's very few people that are basically selfish pricks and criminals that do those things. So there is always going to be a way. But what I'm saying is, just cracking open a PGX slab does not mean that this is compromised. And that is why the PGX slab is easier to open. Because unless you manipulate this, and unfortunately some criminal will do it, this is all one piece. So it's not like a CGC slab where you can open this bottom part, slide the comic out, the label will still be there because they're not connected. You cannot do that with a PGX book because it is all one unit. So unless you open this up, you cannot do what a CGC case can be or a CBCS case is. So the point I'm trying to make is, people really need to do their research before they make assumptions. Now again, I'm not saying this person is doing anything nefarious. I'm not saying the person you got the book from is doing something nefarious. Because like I said, it could have been just one of those times where something did not seal. That is not anything to be concerned about, and it is definitely not the norm, because all you have to do is watch every single one of my PGX unboxings for the past 6 years, and you will see not once did that ever happen. So we have to be realistic about situations and not just conveniently point fingers at another company because some people may not want to have all this heat going on CGC. I'm not suggesting that's the intention of that video. But again, I think many of you will agree that watch my channel that I am probably the biggest PGX user and probably would have the most knowledge out of almost anybody other than somebody that works at PGX. And I'm not here trying to defend them if something was wrong. Like, I mean, let's keep it real. If the inner welling was never sealed, do you think, even if I was getting them free, do you think I'd keep using that company? Because that would mean every time I got a valuable book, if this inner welling was not always sealed, then my comics would constantly be ruined because they would slide down and eventually the whole bottom would get ruined, lowering the grade and devaluing the comic. I mean, we have to have common sense here. And unfortunately, that video has several hundred likes, and you could read the comments. I guarantee you the CGC lovers are having a field day with that video. And that is the wrong message to send and attack a company unfairly without using all angles of possibility. Because like I said, I'm not here to say that Immaculate Comics or the person who sent the book or maybe the person that they got the book from did anything nefarious. Although there is a possibility of that. What I'm saying is, as a community, if we want to try and ruin each company's business by what few a-holes do, few criminals do, and keep showing people how to do criminal acts, then we are going to get what we deserve and we are going to destroy the comic book community because some few people really are desperate for clicks and views on a video for YouTube. To become popular or to gain fame or to become an influencer and all that other nonsense. So there is a reason why YouTube doesn't allow somebody to make a video on how to make an explosive device. Because some idiot will actually attempt to do that very video, even if the video said, don't try this at home. I mean, how many people in the world, when they watch the TV show Jackass, when they say repeatedly, you know, professional stuntmen do not try this at home, how many people made videos doing those things? There are always going to be idiots. There are always going to be criminals. Like I said, if you cannot stop cell phones and drugs from entering a prison, then you're never going to be able to stop criminals from finding the wrong way to exploit something for their own personal gain. And people making videos and not using 100% full disclosure and not 100% saying, well, it could be this, but it can also be this, is not doing the comic community justice. And I don't care if I get heat. I don't care if people say I'm shilling for PGX or anything. Like I said, if PGX, even me getting them for free, well, like I said, I have to pay shipping and everything. But if they had the inner welling not sealed, then my comics over the years would all be damaged. And I'd be an idiot to send in books to a company that would destroy my books, even if they were doing it absolutely free. So that is not the case. That is not the norm. And anybody that has a PGX slab can verify. And if you don't, you can watch one of my, let's see, over 100 videos, probably at this point, of PGX unboxings, where some of them I even ripped open and I showed how easy it is to rip open. It's not the case. It's the fact that the inner welling and all the information here is one entity. Where with CGC, CBCS, and I believe EGS, these are separate entities. It's really all I have to say about it. So, I posted the link. You could watch the video. Do not send hate. This is not about that. I don't want... Because you know what? I don't care how popular I would ever be. Because even at my extreme popularity when my channel, before I got all the hate, I hate the word influencer. I think that is such a narcissistic way to live. I try and give information that helps everybody. And you have to see things from all sides. If you are somebody, whether it's politics or religion or anything, comic collecting, if you only see things from one perspective, you are a closed-minded person. And you have alternative motives, most likely. Because remember, guys, even though you see a coin and you're only looking at the side that has the heads, there's a tails on the other side, whether you want to admit it or not. So, two possibilities. Somebody already cut that inner lining open and tried to be sneaky to try and get PGX now under the fire, or it was a 1 in a million time that doesn't happen and would happen so rare that it's not even a concern. And unfortunately, the videos almost made it seem like this would be a norm to have occur. And that is sending a wrong message. Even if they 100% believed it, just because there is one situation, you have to think logically. That person should have said, when they opened it up and saw that the inner lining was open, they should have said, either that's been cut open, or this is a once in a blue moon situation, because if all of those books if PGX did not seal the inner lining, then the books would slide out and somebody would have noticed by now. But they did not say that. So, remember, ladies and gentlemen, drowning in good intention is still drowning. Like I said, this person's video has lots of views, lots of positive, supportive comments, a lot of PGX bashing, and a lot of thumbs up. I'm not saying to call out BS, because I don't think it's that. But I think this person should have been a little bit more open-minded about other possibilities of a situation that is, I guarantee, not the norm, or somebody being nefarious and being dishonest. Who that is, I don't know. And I am not going to assume that is the road. Anybody out there, like for example, just think of scientists. Any scientist, and you can think about this, especially in the past, since 2020, any scientist that tells you there's only one way science works is a liar. Because science has never worked that way. Because if that's the case, people would still be knocked out with a hammer so they can get operated on by a hacksaw that just cuts off their arms or their legs. There's things called progress. There's things called research. There is no one possibility for anything. Anybody that thinks that is straight out lying to you or is so naive they should never be taken seriously. So it's disappointing that I have to make videos like this, although I am never afraid to make a video like this. And people should really be careful about the videos they are sending out to the public, where people seem to be over-emotional about things they are passionate about. I have no issues with PGX. I do not get paid by them. I do not have a contract signed by them. But of all the three major companies at the time, when I sent to CGC, CBCS, and PGX to do these deals, PGX was not only the only one to respond, but I can talk to the owner anytime I want by calling him on his personal phone. That's a company I want to do business with. When I asked him to do grader's notes as an option on the back of the slab, actually did it. That's the company I want to deal with. And I don't like, if somebody wants to bash a company because they have an opinion of something, that's great. But make sure you get your facts straight. Make sure you have all possibilities on the table. It is not just this way and this way only. You know, Yoda once said, you know, what is it about your eyes? You know, don't trust your eyes can deceive you. Just because you see something does not mean that is what it is. Things can be taken out of context. People can see things from different perspectives. And it's sad at this point that a video like this has to be made to point out what should be a hello McFly moment. So this person could have had the best of intentions, but they did not give all variables and possibilities as to why that situation happened. They just said, here it is. Look, it must be something they do. That is troublesome. Because like I said, if everybody wants to bash all of the different companies so they can just, you know, have CGC have their way so they can make the most money, because that's why people love CGC for the most part. And anybody that has a 9.6 CGC and has to send it in to get the 9.8 is doing it for one reason and one reason only. They want more money. That is it. Notice on my comics, and I'll show you another book today. I thought this book could have been a 9.0 to a 9.8. It came back in 8.0. You know what? I'm not going to crack it open and resend it. I'm very happy with the 8.0 because you know why? I spent $3.51 on the book. So, everybody, keep having your biases. Keep watching the drama. Keep doing the drama. Keep being dishonest or not as ethical as one could be to your viewers, and watch how they don't respect your word. There's a reason why every time I do an auction, there are people who will send me money orders, cash, and checks. I've had people buy books from me up to $5,000 where they gave me money in a 6-month payment plan and got nothing until the payment was done. And everybody got what they ordered. Why? Because when I say something, I mean it. I back it up, and people actually trust me because I believe I've earned that trust. And there are people out there that are going to make videos all over YouTube that are going to be more about financial gain, power, notoriety, fame, influencers. I hate that word. Anybody that calls themselves an influencer really needs to check themselves, because they're eating too much narcissistic cornflakes. It's kind of pathetic. And people need to grow up and realize that you're hurting people. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, if a company does something wrong, sometimes it's just an accident. You ever see two cars crash into each other? Not every time is somebody saying, you know what, I'm going to run into that person because I don't like that car. I don't like the way they drive, so I'm going to run into them. Sometimes there are things called accidents. All companies make them. If you think one company does nothing but make mistakes and one company never can ever make a mistake, then you are a person that should have no one listening to what they say. Unless you are a person who needs an echo chamber because they have no ability to think for themselves. Butin Ward says, Rick, Immaculate Comics is a really straight up and honest dude, good family man and serious collector. Brother is straight up. Don't know why he did a video which I saw was like, huh. Again, I've never watched this person before. I'm not subscribed to his channel. I'm not going to assume that that person was being nefarious. But there might be somebody that says, for whatever reason, they don't like that channel. And they're automatically going to dismiss what they're doing as fraud. You cannot think that way, ladies and gentlemen. That's why the world is so screwed up right now. Because if you're somebody that, for example, in politics, if you're somebody on the left, you have to automatically believe everything everybody does on the left, no matter how crazy or ridiculous or something you don't believe in just because it's your side. And the same thing goes with the right, and the same thing goes with the center. If you're not a person that can think from all perspectives, you are a person that's a sheep, a follower, and should never have the ability to vote for anything in their lives. People are brainwashed into cults. It's so pathetic at this point. And that's what pushes my buttons with things like this, because this person may be very much a good guy, may very much have had nothing but honest intentions with the video, may have legitimately saw that and thought that's the case. But you should stop and think, would a company be able to survive if they have an inner lining that is purposely not sealed? And how the comics would always be damaged because they'd be sliding all over the place. And that somebody possibly could have cut it open. Or it could have been a 1 in a solar eclipse moment that does not happen regularly. But unfortunately, when you don't say those things, people draw their own conclusions. And somebody that doesn't like PGX because somebody else told them not to like them, and it's a person that's never used them before and never had an issue with the people, but because somebody else told them that seems cooler to them or seems like an influencer, they're going to listen to that person no matter what they say, is what causes damage to people that are just trying to earn a living. And unfortunately, a few scumbags out there that are criminals and doing the wrong thing are going to ruin our community. And I've said since the beginning, even when I was at my most popular and my original We Loves Comics channel, this was never a community. It's small little factions of people who have to follow people that they like, and the person they like can never do anything wrong, and the people they hate can never do anything right. And if you think that's how life works, then you really live in a glass house, because you're throwing a lot of stones. It's funny how much my channel gets ignored and hated, even though I am probably one of the more common sense YouTubers out there. Because I talk about several different possibilities. I talk about real unity and getting along with people. I don't charge people money to be able to get information from me. I'm not writing a book that's for sale. I'm not doing things that cost you money. Yes, I have a Patreon account, but that's for people who may want to contribute to my channel because they like what I do. You don't have to get a membership to get information from me. Now, if somebody else does that, there's nothing wrong with it, because sometimes people have to put food on the table, and maybe that's the only way they can do it. But from my perspective, I do not believe in saying, if you want information from me, you have to pay me for it. I'm going to give it to you freely, but I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, or at least another perspective, so you can at least have an option to think another way. And this is why so many people, especially when it comes to politics, are brainwashed. They are in cults. It's sad and it's pathetic, and people need to start waking up. PGX is not purposely having the bottom lining or any part of the lining of their inner sleeve not glued and allowing a comic to slip out. It's ridiculous, and people would have called it years ago, because damage would have happened to everybody's comics. It's embarrassing that people cannot think of these things on their own. So, people love drama, so you're going to see, watch, this video is going to get more views than probably my last 7 or 8 videos. Why? Because there's drama, and people like drama. Those that say they don't like drama, I would ask why so many people will watch this video when they don't watch my others. Now, I'm not talking about my regulars and my power viewers. It's just, it should be embarrassing at this point, the direction that humanity is going. If I'm going to be hated by people or made fun of or have people accuse me of things because I think for myself, and I'm not afraid to question things, and I'm not afraid to challenge somebody that may have either made a mistake or is doing something wrong, I can live with that perfectly. Because you will never see a video of mine where I am purposely trying to mislead my audience or put fraud against my audience. And that's why I have people, like, for example, Daniel Cochran, which, by the way, we've never talked on the phone. We've never met in real life. He's not a family member. He's not a friend of the family. He's not a person I've ever worked with. He's just a YouTuber that came to my channel and started buying comics. He has bought more comics from me than anybody else. He's bought Daredevil #1, Amazing Spider-Man 14, first appearance of Doctor Strange, the X-Men 94, Ultimate Fallout 4, so many other books, and he sent me money orders. I have plenty of people that have ordered for me several times because they know that they can count on me to be reliable. I'm the only, first of all, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I was the first channel to do live auctions on a YouTube channel, which I'll never get credit for. I am one of the few that when I do my live auctions, I tell people during the live auction to make sure you're checking the prices of the books that I'm selling so you can see they're the lowest, and I don't want people to overbid and get into emotional bidding wars where they regret their purchase. No one has bought a comic from me on my auction and said, I want to return it. Actually, that's not true. There was one person that bought a non-graded book years ago that just didn't like it and wanted it returned, and I gave them their money back, no questions asked. But other than that, everybody's not only been happy, but they keep coming back. And people that make videos have to understand the influence that you have on others. But to call yourself an influencer, it's so narcissistic. It's sad. It's pathetic. But you do have to take responsibility, because there are people who will listen to your every word. And you may have the best of intentions, but like I said before, drowning in good intention, you're still drowning. Draw whatever conclusions you want. The people that hate PGX are going to hate them no matter what they do. The people that only love CGC are going to see them as a company who could never do wrong and will justify everything as long as they can, so this way they can keep profiting off of that company. If you think any company gives a rat's ass about you, or any government doesn't take advantage of the people as useful idiots and uses them until they don't need them anymore, I mean, if you don't get it at this point, there's no helping you. If people don't like the direction the world is headed, I'm going to ask you this. What are you doing, and what are you saying, and what are you standing up for to make this place into a better place? Otherwise, why should the world not be destroyed and everybody die and the planet goes up in flames? There's a bigger picture in all of this. It's ethics. It's integrity. Now, I'm not saying people don't make mistakes. I've made plenty of mistakes. But there's a difference between an accident and an on purpose. Like, before I got married, when I used to date, any girl I ever dated, I used to tell them this. And they've never heard this before from any guy. And I would say, if I thought it was going to be a serious relationship or we were dating a while, it's not like a first date or anything, I would say this, because that's just stalk much. I'm talking about relationships that we were going around for a while, or I could see it potentially going somewhere, or they could potentially see it going somewhere. I would say the following. I cannot guarantee I will hurt you. I cannot guarantee I will not hurt you, because no one can promise that. But what I can guarantee is I will never purposely hurt you. And there's a difference. Sometimes people can say something and it hurts somebody's feelings. It may have taken out of context. It may have been a Freudian slip. It may not have had the meaning that somebody else interpreted it on. Or like I said before, you can have a car accident where two people may have either not been paying attention, or maybe somebody sneezed, or somebody fell asleep, or, something to where maybe there's a slippery road, or maybe an animal ran in front of the car. You don't know. But they're not driving into each other with the intent to hurt each other. Now, there are idiots out there that do things like that in road rage situations, but that's the exception and not the norm. I would like to think the average person is actually a good person that's not looking for World War III, who is not looking to rob everyone blind, and is not going to take advantage of every person they can. But unfortunately, as they say, a few bad apples spoil the tree, and other people that may have good intentions when they make a video or do a speech or go on a news program or whatever, or write a book, they have their own particular one-sided bias, and it causes other situations to arise from it. Be better than that. Get out of the cult, awaken yourself, and listen to all possibilities. If you cannot do that, congratulations, you are a cultist, you are a sheep, you are somebody that cannot think for themselves, and you need to fix that if you want a better world. So I didn't think I was going to make another video tonight, and this one gave me a massive headache. I already had a migraine before, because unfortunately I'm getting old and body parts don't work like they used to. Actually, I have a cervical spine that curves the wrong way. That's been like that since I was 9. So I deal with pain all of my life. No one ever knows about it, because I guarantee you that's the first time anybody on this channel's ever heard me say that. Cosmic Comic Journey says, it's fair to say you have been slightly irritated with this situation. I wouldn't say irritated, I would say frustrated. Because even if this person had the purest of intentions, and they may have, I cannot think about this person in the sense of being able to read their mind. So I don't know what their true intention was. But let's assume it was 100% pure. If they opened that slab up, saw that the comic and the label were connected, you could see why it doesn't matter if it's easier or more impossible to open the slab, because you can't just slide out the book without cutting the inner welling. And to also suggest that PGX would purposely not seal the bottom layer of their slab is basically just naive at best. But there are people who will listen to that and say, oh, look what PGX does. So I saw a video, I saw it live, or I saw whatever, and they don't seal the books. And others who probably will never see the video and just base it on what somebody else says, will now spread the rumor, oh, PGX doesn't close their lining, so you can easily take out their books. And that's what causes a problem. And that is unfair to a company. Any company. And that's why, even though I have issues with CGC, I actually still gave them the benefit of the doubt in the beginning when I first heard the rumors that were going on with CGC. Because I love all the companies because they benefit all of us. I mean, how could people be this stupid? Just for greed. It's embarrassing. It's sad. It's pathetic. And somebody other than myself needs to start calling this crap out. Are you tired of drowning in good intention? Do you think if you had a child, God forbid, that drowned, but it was good intentions, you think that's going to make you feel better? Think it's going to bring them back? Come on, people. We need, as a real community, those who want a real community, to do better. And that's not to blast somebody. That is to maybe point out alternative reasons for what somebody else's reasons may be. To do it without cursing, without attack, and say, here's what I think could also be a possibility of the thing that you are suggesting. And here are my reasons, thank you for listening. If all you can do is bash people and insult people and make accusations and only see in one direction, there is no helping you. And unfortunately, that's the majority of people. Because if you were dumb enough, and I'm saying this straight out, if you were dumb enough to think a cloth mask was going to stop a microscopic virus, then there is no saving you. Just because a scientist told you it. But what they don't tell you is, for everyone that said that that was the right thing to do, there were hundreds that were silenced that said it's ridiculous. Because when was the last time you saw a fireman go into a burning building with a cloth mask, and the particles of a smoke particle is probably 1,000 times bigger than a virus particle, and yet they won't wear a mask to stop a smoke particle? Then they've even admitted that the masks never worked, and they knew they never worked, and people are still wearing them. Stupid is as stupid does. Why is it throughout the medical history before Rovid, if you've ever gone to the hospital or the doctors with the flu, pneumonia, or any breathing-related problem, why is it in the entire history of medicine no one has ever said, you need to wear a face diaper? Now all of a sudden you need it? Standing 6 feet apart? So this airborne virus, if you stand 6 feet apart, even though if you're on a line and you're walking towards somebody, all of a sudden the virus disappears? I mean, common sense. Laws that were saying that if you're in a restaurant, you could take off a mask while you're eating, but as soon as you stand up, you have to put it back. Putting a piece of plastic over, like if you're at a post office and they have a piece of plastic, that's stopping a microscopic organism. It's pathetic at this point. I actually like those that don't like me, because it makes me very happy that those people cannot think the way I do. I am not a college graduate. I was never going to therapy. I was never learning this stuff from other people. I research all this stuff on my own. Been doing it since about 2010, or actually 2011. It's embarrassing at this point. And again, I'm not saying everybody's a criminal and everybody's a thief and everybody's dishonest and everybody is this, that. No, there are people that legitimately may believe what they're talking about. There are scientists out there that may have honestly thought that way. People with climate change, which you ever wonder, all of the most richest people that talk about climate change, you ever wonder why they all have beachfront properties? If they really think that the oceans are going to rise to the point that's going to collapse half of a country. You ever wonder why they all have billion-dollar homes around the right near the beaches? Kind of funny how that works. Quite interesting. And also you can learn about all the way back to like around 1913, where we were doing newspaper articles saying how the world was going to be destroyed by climate change. Do people not know that we have not a circular pattern around either the galaxy or our sun? It's elliptical, which means it's like an oval, which means sometimes you're closer to the sun, sometimes you're further from the sun. And when you're going in a wave-like pattern around the galaxy, there are times where you're closer to the center and you're further away from the center, which means you are going to be affected by heat and light and energy and magnetism dependent on your distance and location. Go near a fireplace. I guarantee you, the closer you are to a fireplace, the warmer you're going to be. The further away from the fireplace, the colder you're going to be. It is not a conspiracy theory. It's not some magic. It's just logic, friggin' common sense. When the Earth is doing its elliptical orbit around the sun, which is an oval, it is not a smooth transition. It actually fluctuates and rotates while it's going around. It's closer to the sun at certain points. It's further away from the sun at certain points. This is what changes temperature and changes climate. It's mind-blowing how stupid people have become. Idiocracy has become a documentary. And if you've never seen the movie Idiocracy, I highly recommend you watch it, because it is a sneak preview, which the only thing they got wrong is they assumed it's hundreds of years in the future. It's right now. You can't fix a problem until you realize you have a problem. And if people want to sit there, la, 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 I see no evil, I hear no evil, I speak no evil, you're letting evil thrive. Keep doing what you're doing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not pointing at my viewers here. I'm just saying you as in out in general. But like I said, watch this video. Right now, there are 34, now 33 people watching this. My average video I do has 12 to 15. People like drama. It makes them feel better. I'm not going to lose any sleep over this, because I know I don't go to bed at night worrying about a nuclear war and thinking the ice caps are going to melt and tomorrow everything's going to freeze over. Because you know what? I'm not an idiot. Let me ask you. We're still in a part of an ice age, ladies and gentlemen, which means it's going to fluctuate with time. You ever see when George Washington was crossing the Delaware? That was actually either in the spring or the summertime, and yet there was ice. Were they using hairspray? Were they putting things in the ozone layer? Which, by the way, when's the last time you heard anybody talk about holes in the ozone? Big companies are the ones putting all this ridiculousness into the air, which, by the way, they talk about how there's so much carbon in the air. I mean, hello, McFly, what does vegetation need to survive? Carbon dioxide. It turns it into oxygen. So the more carbon you have in the atmosphere, the more nutrients plants have to thrive, which provide us with oxygen. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And if anything I talked about in this video made you mad and you signed off or thumbed it down because I talked about Rovid and masks and all this other stuff and your butt got hurt, congratulations, you're in a cult. And I feel sorry for you. But the only way you can leave a cult is to understand you're in a cult. And a cult makes you think a certain way without question. Without the ability to think for yourself and say, hey, wait a minute. This particular thing does not seem right. You know, it's like the famous saying of some comedian said, "Who do you trust, me or your own eyes?" Well, everybody else is trusting everybody else instead of their own eyes or trusting their own instincts. It's embarrassing. So, with that being said, I do not want one of my viewers to send any hate to this person. Because like I said, I don't know their true intentions. They may have been 100% legit in thinking that situation. It's disappointing that they did not give the alternative situations that could also have been possible. Why? I cannot answer that question. Maybe you need to ask that politely or bring that up and see how they respond. By their deeds, you shall know them. People can criticize me and attack me all they want. If you think I'm losing an ounce of sleep over somebody not liking me or somebody have a problem with what I do and say, congratulations on your achievement of being somebody that sends negativity out in the world. I try and inspire people. I try and get people to think differently. I try and show people, like for example, and I'm just going to say it, I'll do the video for people that will watch it when I get it. I went 1 o'clock in the morning, just happened to say, you know what, I'm going to go on eBay and see if I can find any new comics. Well, guess what? I just bought a Fantastic Four number 52, which is the first appearance of Black Panther, in what seems to be between a 2.5 to a 3.5 grade, and I paid a total of $79, and that is including shipping and handling eBay fees. Just happened to go on at 1 o'clock in the morning. The person had it listed as $25 starting bid and a $69 buy it now. Complete. First appearance of Black Panther. I bought it. The person already has mailed it out. We've communicated 5 or 6 times. Has already given me a positive rating. And the person has a 100% rating with several different sales. So it's not some troll. It's not some scammer. There are deals out there. I try and inspire people. Those that don't want to listen and don't want to believe, well, keep living the life that makes you unhappy. You know what? At one point, when I'm still unemployed. I haven't had a quote-unquote job since October. I used to worry about it a little bit. Now, I'm happy. Because anytime I need money, I'll do an auction. My last auction made about $4,500 to $5,000. Couldn't make that DJing. Couldn't make that doing my massage business. And I get to stay at home where I, on a daily basis, twice a day, I go outside and feed, on average, 20 stray cats, which, by the way, I got all fixed and neutered myself. Well, 90% of them. Some of the others somebody else did before I ever saw them. So I can actually spend my day with my wife instead of being at a 9-to-5 job. I don't have to worry about spending money on gas. I don't have to worry about putting excessive miles. I don't have to worry about sitting at a desk bored out of my mind doing drone work repeatedly. I actually get to stay at home in Florida, enjoy the sunshine. The funny thing is, and here's the funny part, when I was unhappy at my jobs, making just barely enough to survive, I would need an alarm clock to wake up. Now, I'll go to bed between 10 p.m. and 1 a.m., depending on what me and the wife are doing. And every morning, I wake up on my own between 6:30 and 7:30 in the morning without an alarm. So I'm actually sleeping better. I am less stressful. I now have the confidence to know that I can legitimately go on eBay right now and find a deal within an hour or less and get a comic that I can easily turn around and quadruple my money on. But people want to keep living this life that people have been doing nothing but complaining about for hundreds of years and not realizing there's a way to actually make your life better. The reason why everything is crumbling right now is because if you want a new beginning, you have to first get rid of the old ending. You can't start a new book until you read the old book. And people are so afraid of letting go of the past because that's what they're so used to that they'll hang on tooth and nail. And, you know, if you're on a stream and you're holding on for dear life, that stream is going to destroy you. If you just go with the flow, it takes you where you need to go. I feel bad for the people who cannot listen to what I say, who do not have the ability to say, wait, Let's listen to this information. Let's see if it resonates with me. People just want the quick fix, do the wrong thing. It's easy to become a criminal. But is it the right thing to do? Is that what you want to be known for? When you die, people could say, oh, I'm glad that person's dead. He was nothing but a disgusting criminal that did everything they could to steal somebody's money. Do you know I actually have legal right over the authority of my mother to do anything I want? I have power of attorney over my mother. She's not mentally ill or anything. She just decided when it's her time to go, she wants to make sure, because I'm the most responsible one in the family, that I have the power to control everything. Which means anytime I want, I could take money out of her account. I could shut off her account. I could do whatever I want. And you know how many times I've done things like that? 0. And my mother is always constantly talking about, between me and my sister, how she feels bad and wants to help out and give money here and there. And I'm like, keep your money, live your life, be happy, knowing that you raise children that want to do the right thing. Use the money for yourself to be happy. I've seen so many people, when a parent dies or a family member dies, they fight over what they can get out of the will. You know what? I would rather have my mother for another 50 years than to care about one dime that she has to give me. There's a right way to make money, and there's a wrong way. The wrong way tends to be the easier way. Why do you think so many people right now, they just want to be on welfare, and they want to collect a check, and they want to do nothing? Well, you know what? I get to do whatever I want, whenever I want, and be able to make money on my own without somebody else that I need to be dependent on. Somebody else that says, well, if you want this welfare check, now you have to do this. If you want your job, you have to do this. Nope. So, as usual, I will turn a regular video into something that has nothing to do with the topic. I'm perfectly fine with that, and I know there are very few people that are my power viewers and ultra power viewers that will have actually listened to the whole thing. If you can't, believe me, I understand. It doesn't matter to me in the grand scheme of things. If you watch, that's awesome. There was somebody, as I was signing off originally, because people were telling me that the volume was off, and I noticed somebody gave a $10 or $5 super chat, but I didn't realize it until as I was shutting it off. So, whoever that was, unfortunately I didn't see the name. I want to thank you for being kind and being generous. And I hope people will start viewing life in a different way. If you need to be popular, if you need to be an influencer, if you'll do whatever it takes just to make that dollar, to make yourself seem like a squeaky clean, perfect human being that could do no wrong and put up a facade, or if you're some Instagram model that puts up fake pictures of who you are so you can trick people and gaslight people into making large amounts of money, I feel sorry for you. And yes, Comic Journey hates AI. Actually, the pictures you're seeing right now are not AI. And it's okay to hate something. If you want to hate something, that's great. But remember, when you have hate in your heart, there's always a reason for it. People never realize that when you hate something, there's usually a reason behind it. Is it the fact that maybe at one point you were going to be an artist, or you have family members that are artists and AI could make them lose their jobs? Remember, ladies and gentlemen, progress, you're going to lose jobs, but you're also going to get new jobs. You know, how many people in the world, when we had horse-drawn carriages and all of a sudden the motor vehicle came along, how many people said, oh, all these people are going to lose their livelihoods? Well, they survived, didn't they? Stop living your life on fear. There's always something to be afraid of. That's why there will always be people who will manipulate you into thinking there's going to be a World War III and there's going to be a large crash and there's going to be this, that, and the other thing. There's going to be climate change and a new disease and a new alien and a new terrorist. There's always a boogeyman around the corner. If that's the way you want to live, that's not a life. I lost my job and I was worried about it at one point. Now, I am so happy with the freedom I have. And I don't need to be a millionaire. Because it seems, even though I've been unemployed since October, I can still get some amazing comics. I can still pay bills. I can spend time with my wife instead of with my boss at some 9-to-5 job that I hate, that's making somebody else millions of dollars. I highly recommend other people start choosing a better life. If you do nothing but complain, and you do nothing to fix it, whose fault is it at that point? But start thinking for yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, and stop worrying about the masses who are followers and nothing but sheep, who will gang up on you and insult you because they have no facts to go with their feelings. Stand up for yourself, because eventually there'll be nobody left to stand up for you. There is no Superman. You are Superman. And until you realize that, you're going to worry every day why Superman's not coming to save you. You cannot save yourself. Well, you know what'll happen. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to my rant. If you're one of my power viewers or ultra power viewers, first of all, I say congratulations and God bless you for listening to me rant for this long. But if you did, put it in the comment section. Let people know. Tell people why you like to listen to mine. Even if you just like drama and you think I'm the most ridiculous person in the world. If you can say that in a comment respectfully, I'll have much respect for you. I don't want an echo chamber. I don't want people to just agree with everything I say. You can say that you don't agree, but say it nicely. How about we all try that? Maybe then we'll have a better world. You know, treat people as you wish to be treated. Easy path is not always the right path or the righteous path. Thanks for listening. Have a wonderful night. I'll see you next video.